Alright everyone, it's time for Vermont Issues episode 133. There's was a dog park in South Burlington, but they've decided to ban dogs from it because of a noise complaint from one of the people who lives, adjacent to it. I thought this was funny. Now, on one hand, I can understand why you'd be like a little bit peeved. It's like, oh, this was a nice quiet park, like a little woody area, and it was like centennial part of UVM, so it's like, woody and brushy. And then gets turned into a park. And then people were, walking their dogs there. I can understand, maybe there were a lot of people there at certain times, and that could get a little bit annoying. But at the same time, then I thought about where the location is of this, and I chuckled. Because it's near a major, it's right on the edge of a fairly substantial downtown. So there's got to be, a significant amount of traffic anyway there. To some degree, at least during some hours. It's fairly close to a major highway conduit, and it's not far from the airport. And the airport has it was F-35s or whatever, the really, really loud ones, or F-22s. The ones that make the F-16s sound quiet, they actually had years of protest over the idea at the airport in Burlington. Now, I've heard them going overhead, along with the normal, commercial air traffic. You can, it's definitely not limited to just, oh yeah, you live right next to the airport, so there's a lot of noise. No, it's more like 10 blocks out from the airport, there's a fairly significant amount of noise too. I can't imagine that having the occasional dog barking would be worse than that, so I have to assume this just became like the hipster hub for everyone to walk their dogs. Their vegetarian dogs or something. It became like the UVM kid retreat. I would think, though, that, like, stoned people in the park would be more annoying than the dogs, too. And there are going to be a lot of those, trust me, especially in that area. But anyway, I digress. I'm not 100% sure that the complaint should have been taken so absolutely seriously that it immediately was deconverted from a dog-friendly to a no-dogs-allowed park. But then again, on the other hand, we have to remember that a lot of times people spoil a good thing. It's like you have some resource or some place or something, and it's really great and only a few people are using it, and it stays great because it's low traffic. Then when word gets out about how great it is, so many people come in, it stops being great. This is the case with almost every major tourist trap in the country. They'd be so great if it weren't for all of the other people that were trying to enjoy it. And so it just gets littered with trash, and it's full of bullshit. It's like you go to Yellowstone, there's like trash everywhere, and fucking, it takes 2 hours to drive in and out of one fucking parking area. They used to talk about how legendary the shit was there. How many problems it had. I can imagine probably this ended up the same way. It was a good idea on paper, like, oh, let's let people walk their puppies, they'll be cute, and a little woof woof will have a good time. And then you show up and, of course, there's like 20 or 30 dogs, and it's a little bit like you go to the pool and there's like already 50 people there. Well, that's not much fun. The pool's really fun until there are so many people it's impossible to swim around, and you just sort of end up standing there, wishing that you were somewhere, wishing you were back in your bathtub at home. So maybe that's what the problem was. I just found it funny. It's just a little bit on the NIMBY side, I guess, to live that close to a, fairly significant airport. It's bigger than most of the airports in New England, let's face it. There's a significant amount of traffic in that region. It's right next to a major highway. I know there's some woods on the side, but it's close to it. There's got to already be a fairly substantial amount of noise. That's like saying, hey, I live in New York City. I live in Los Angeles. Someplace, there's going to be pollution. There's going to be some smog and haze sometimes. Even better, Fresno. Fresno, greatest example, or something like that. I live in Tampa Bay. But a kebab shop opened up across the street, and now all that smoke is irritating my eyes. There was already a problem along the same lines that you are discussing. And even if it might be a legit complaint, it just strikes people, I think, as a little bit funny. That's about all. Peace out.